the locks click on the doors of cars.
Okay, so that's happened to the president. It's happened to me. It's happened to a lot of African-American men. My thing is, and I had Ben Ferguson on, the radio host, is why immediately do people want to say, that's not happening? Why is it so important for someone who is not African-American to come out and go, he's wrong, you're wrong? It's like, I find that a bit odd and a bit insulting.
Because if you are invested in a vision which says otherwise, there is a tendency, and they've had psychological studies which sort of quantify this. There is a strong tendency to discount any evidence that gives lie to what you want to believe, and to manufacture or embrace any evidence, however scant it is, that supports what you want to believe. People want to believe, particularly white Americans, many white Americans, I should say, want to believe this is over, this is done, and anything else that you're talking about is a product of your imagination. And since they hold so strongly to this and they're so deeply invested in this, any evidence that you bring up to the contrary, and we've got anecdotal evidence, we've got statistical evidence, we've got all kinds of evidence, illustrative evidence, any kind of evidence that you want, but any evidence that you bring up to the contrary has to be something that you're making up because we quote-unquote know better.
It's interesting to me when people are probably going to take issue with the comments that you just made, but you're also a person who says, but you're telling the African-American community to take responsibility for many of their own issues and many of their own problems. And then also now you're saying, hey, listen, white America, understand that there's a different reality in some quarters for African-Americans and for white Americans. And so I think there's great balance in what you're saying, but many people still take issue to it. You understand what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. Where race is concerned, we tend to embrace this false dichotomy, the either-or dichotomy. It's either black people need to get their acts together and take more accountability for the things that they need to do within their communities, or white people, need to take more responsibility for the racism that still exists in this country. But it's not an either-or. That's a false choice. It's both and. And what I like to tell people is, if your problem with African-American people is that we need to restore father to the home and rebuild our communities and all of it, that's fine. But the thing is that if you restore father to the dinner table, father still needs a job. Okay? Father still needs to be able to get to that job without being stopped by the police, for driving while black. And that's the part of it nobody really wants to ever deal with.
Yeah, and it's not just the black community's problem to deal with violence in community. It's all of our problems. Just as we deal with everybody else. Yes. Thank you. Leonard Pitts, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.